Everyone was getting things set up for the hotel since there were special guests coming to visit, including the King of Lust himself, Asmodeus. Charlie couldn't wait to see him, since he was her godfather and all. She always had such a great time with him. He was the fun uncle that always spoiled her. The reason that they were staying now was because Ozzy and Fizzerolli's relationship was out in the open. The press had been on them non-stop, so this was just the place that they needed to get away. As soon as the hotel residents heard a car pull up, the princess knew that it had to be them. When she opened the door, she saw the big blue rooster standing there. She jumped for joy.
Uncle Ozzy!
Charlotte! How's my baby girl doing?
I'm good, thanks.
As he picked her up for a hug, Fizzerolli stood next to him looking nervous and worried because that was the door of Lucifer himself. Fizz was scared that she wouldn't like him for either being an imp or for being part of that knockoff amusement park. Oz put her down, then he introduced her to his love.
Charlotte, I would like you to meet the love of my life, Fizzerolli.
When Fizz gave her a little wave, he was ready for any hate to come his way. Instead, he was given a big, tight hug from her.
Ooh, I'm so happy to meet you! Do you mind if I call you Uncle Fizzy?
She was holding him so tight that he couldn't breathe, so the only answer he could give was a small
"Yep."
Then they went inside and met everyone, and talked about all of the work that they had done so far. The king was pleased with the great job that his goddaughter had been doing. Suddenly, they heard the front door slam open, so the three looked over to the balcony to see just what caused it. The couple was surprised to see that it was none other than Angel Dust, who just got back from the studio. He looked horrible as he walked right up to the bar, just wanting to forget about his day. As Fizz saw that, it reminded him of how he felt when he worked with his old boss, Mammon. Later, as they were unpacking, the little jester had something on his mind, so he wasn't really paying attention to his love.
See, Froggy, I told you Charlotte would like you. And to think, you thought she was going to give you the cold shoulder.
With that reply, Asmodeus knew something was up.
Oh, honey, what's wrong?
It's nothing.
Fizz, this is our vacation, which means a break from all the worry and stress. Now, come on, tell me what's wrong.
Well, after seeing how Angel looked downstairs, I can't help but think about how his boss must be treating him, and I want to help him out.
Ozzy gave a warm smile, thinking that it was sweet for the little jester to care for others. Then he felt horrible because of what he was going to have to tell him.
Oh, Froggy, I'm glad you want to get Angel out of his contract, but the thing is, Valentino is not an easy man to work with. He's willing to do anything to make money, while I actually care about the lust in my kingdom.
But can't we just talk to him? There's gotta be something we can work out.
Oh, I'll see what I can do, baby.
The next day, Fizzerolli ran into the spider demon and wanted to talk to him, but he wasn't sure how to bring it up. Luckily, Angel got the conversation started.
Oh my god, Fizz! I heard about you on the news. Let me tell you, you're so lucky to have told your boss off. I can't even say no to mine when he offers me a drink.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. But, you know, I was talking to Ozzy, and we thought that maybe we could help you out.
Oh, that's sweet of you. But I don't think you can do anything to get Val to change his mind about me.
Just give us a chance. If I can quit, then so can you.
The spider was grateful to have someone looking out for him, but he still knew that no matter what, Val would never give him up. After they finally got an opportunity to meet the pimp, the Lust King had to remind his love of a few things about this creep, since he was in hell for a reason.
Remember, Froggy, never turn your back on him. Watch what you say, and always stay near me.
Ozzy, don't worry so much. If I can handle Mammon, I'm sure I can handle this guy.
When they got into V's studio, the vibe immediately made Fizz uncomfortable. If just walking into the building made him feel like this, then meeting the Overlord was probably going to make him literally sick. When they got into the office, there sat the moth pimp smoking away on his cigarette. The king walking into his office put a big grin on Val's face.
Well. King Osmodius, what brings you here today?
I'm here to talk about one of your clients,
Oh, I see. And who might that be?
Angel Dust.
And why would you like to talk about him?
I want you to break his contract.
Hearing those words, the pimp let out a big laugh, leaving the two a bit dumbfounded.
And what is it in for me? I mean, I can't just give away my biggest stars and not have something in return.
Oz was afraid of that, but he didn't know what to do. He could never sign over any of the people who were to his club to this monster. There had to be a way out of this.
What do you have in mind?
How about this? Since your little boy toy is off of Mammon's contract, why not let him do one of my videos?
Excuse me?
Just one. That's all I ask. If not, then Angel stays.
Yeah, fat chance, Valentino. Come on, Fizz, we're getting out of here.
When they got up and left, Oz carried Fizz in his arms for protection. The little imp felt ill in his stomach, something that he hadn't felt since he worked for his old boss. That night, as everyone was asleep, Fizzerolli tossed and turned, having another horrible nightmare. He was going back to work for that horrible boss. He remembered the terrible casting couches, the abuse, and not just that, but he recalled his time with Cash Buxo too. He was just as horrible, making him and his children train all day, hitting them with whips, getting paid so little, and giving him away after the fire. Fizz didn't want to go through all of that again, but if he didn't, he would let Angel down and it would be all his fault. Just then, the little jester heard someone calling his name. When he finally woke up, he realised that it was his boyfriend, who he was so glad to be sleeping on.
Froggy, are you okay?
Huh? Oh yeah, I'm fine.
Did you have another nightmare?
Whoa, what makes you say that?
Oh, because you were tossing and turning and crying and, not to mention...
The king didn't want to bring it up, but it had happened again. The imp had wet the bed. Well, mostly Ozzy, calling Fizz to be so embarrassed.
Oz, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Shh, it's okay, babe. Did you really think this was the first time someone's peed on me?
Fizz didn't even laugh. There was so much going on in his head that he wasn't in the mood. As Asmodeus was getting things cleaned up and fixed, he noticed that his love looked like he had something on his mind.
Fizz, honey, what's wrong?
I think I want to do it.
Do what?
In Valentino's next video.
Hearing those words, Asmodeus dropped what he had in his hands. He was in disbelief. There had to be some kind of misunderstanding.
Fizz, you can't be serious.
I have to, Oz. I want Angel to be free. I can't just stand by knowing that someone is putting up with the same bullshit I did. I want to do the video.
Hod was scared for him, but at the same time, he was proud of what Fizz was doing. It really took guts to help someone out like this, but he also knew that whatever was going to happen on that set wasn't going to be pretty. After everything was set up, it was time to shoot the video. The poor little imp was so scared. He tried to put on a brave face, but he couldn't help but shake in fear. He just had to keep reminding himself that this was for Angel's freedom, and that if anything were to happen, his Prince Charming would be there to stop it. When they got to the studio, the Overlord wanted to check some things over first.
Take off the robe. I want to see that body of yours.
Fizz knew that something like this was going to happen, since Mammon did the same thing when he was making those robots. So he took a deep breath, shut his eyes, and just dropped it.
Nice. Very nice.
Demon Moth said as he walked around, checking his body out. Fizz tried to imagine that he wasn't there, that he was in his happy place, but it was hard due to the strong smell from Valentino's cigarettes. Ozzy hated that he had to just stand there watching and letting this monster make his love so uncomfortable. He wanted so badly just to put his robe back on, grab him and run back home.
This will have to go.
Val said, as he was about to take the little imp's hat off. Fizz grabbed it just in time before Val saw anything.
The hat stays on.
The pimp had a look of disgust on his face, but he thought that it would probably be best not to push it, since he got what he wanted so far. After Val was finished, Fizz put his robe back on and turned to Oz, wanting him to pick him up. Fizz felt protected when Oz did that. When they got to the set, Fizz saw Angel sitting on the side looking sad. Fizz had to stay strong and do this. He couldn't back out now. After the camera and makeup were done, it was time to discuss the scene.
Now the setting will go like this. Fizz, you will be in bed talking about how hungry you are. Then you'll make a call to the pizza place, wanting big, greasy sausages to eat. Then when you open the door, Angel...
What?
The imp and the spider demon said, not knowing that they were going to have to do this together. Obviously, this was another one of Val's ideas.
Oh dear, did I not tell you? Well, it's a bit too late for that, right?
Then he went back to explaining the scene. There were all kinds of things that he wanted the two to do. Stuff that Fizz and Ozzy had only done behind closed doors. Fizz wasn't sure if he could do it with the cameras and people watching, let alone doing it all with Angel. But he stuck to it, reminding himself again why he was there. As the filming started and the love-making began, poor Fizzerolli again tried to pretend that he was somewhere other than that horrible place, but even daydreaming wasn't working. When Fizz saw Oz just sitting there looking upset, he felt like he was betraying him, like he was cheating on Ozzy and making him watch. After it was finally over, Fizz went up to his lover like a scared child who wanted to be picked up by their mother. He was so overwhelmed and sore that he couldn't hide it anymore. Tears of blood ran down his face as he cried onto the king's shoulder. He just wanted to disappear.
Ozzy, I want to go home.
Shh. I know, baby, I know. But you gotta hang in there. We're almost done.
Ozzy replied, as he held him tight and rubbed his back to show Fizz that he was safe now. Meanwhile, in Angel's dressing room, he was quickly packing up, happy that he was finally done with this. No more fear, no more films, no more treating him like he was a nobody. As he got everything and was about to head out the door, he immediately dropped the box when he saw Valentino standing there with that evil grin on his face.
Well, I hope you're happy with your new life, Angel Cakes. But just remember this. You may not work for me anymore, but I will always own you. No matter where you go or what you do, people will always see that you are my property. Just remember that.
As the spider demon backed away from him, he didn't understand what Val was talking about. How could he still own him if his contract was no more? That's when the Overlord snapped his finger, and a custom branding iron appeared in his hand. It was already heated up and ready to be used. Angel couldn't believe it. There were millions of demons in hell that could replace him and do a better job of being Val's next star, and yet Val still didn't want to let Angel go. Before he could find a chance to run, Val grabbed one of Angel's arms and slammed his face up against the wall. Next thing Angel knew, he felt a burning pain in the back of his neck. His body was in shock that he couldn't even scream, and he almost passed out. Finally letting go, Val dropped Angel onto the ground. As he was leaving, the pimp had just one more thing to say.
Had fun while it lasted, you whore.
After giving it a while, the King of Lust went into the dressing room to see if Angel was almost ready to go. Instead, found him lying in the middle of the floor, back of his neck as black blood dripped down onto his back. Ozzy freaked out, thinking that Valentino might have stabbed him or worse. After he cleaned the wound, the king was on the verge of tears, because what he found was a branding scar that said property of these studios. If hadn't already left, Ozzy would have ripped all his arms and his member off for doing something so low.
Please. Stop.
After a week passed, Angel was feeling more alive and better about himself because he saw his life as a new chapter about to begin, all thanks to a little imp and a giant chicken. After they got everything packed, it was time for the couple to head back to their kingdom. Charlie was sad that they couldn't stay longer, but she was glad that they enjoyed their stay.
I love you, Uncle Ozzy. I hope you come back soon.
Oh, don't worry, sweetie. I'm sure we will. And I promise I'll put the word out about your hotel when we get back home.
Thanks. Oh, and Uncle Fizzy, thank you so much for helping Angel. I'm sure if you weren't Hellborn, you would go to heaven for doing a good deed like that.
Oh, thanks, kid.
Before he got into the car, the king had one more thing to say to the demon spider.
Angel, I know you want a break from the lust life right now, but if you ever want to perform again, here's my number. Trust me, I treat my employees far better than that lousy overlord ever did.
Angel was so moved that he gave them both a hug.
Thanks. I'll think about it. Until then, thank you for everything.